Our agriculture system is in, quite frankly, a mess. Our farmers are being paid not to produce food. And yet we've got a worldwide shortage of food. We are in a situation where we've got people screaming all the time about the fact that we need to preserve fish stocks and that we should cut back on the amount of fish that we get. Now, nobody would disagree that we need to preserve the natural resources and the natural fish stocks that we've got in the sea. But why don't we do it properly, sensibly? We know how to farm salmon, don't we? We can farm all the salmon we want and leave all the salmon that's free and swim it in the oceans to develop naturally. We can also do the same thing with cod and haddock and every other variety that you want to name. What's stopping it? Cost. And that's the reason that the large cod farm in Scotland has recently been put into administration. Not because it doesn't do it, but because the profitability is not there. Do you know how simple it is? To produce salmon only takes a matter of months. To produce cod takes about 3 years. And it's the length, the running time, that's causing it to be put into administration. But of course, once you produce it, you can produce millions of tons of fish in good conditions, but think of the lifespan as well of the fish, which is good as well. And we can feed the population. We can begin to grow sufficient food of every variety in this country, subject to the climate, of course, to feed all our people without any problem. And one of the things that we ought to look at very carefully on an international scale is the fact that when we're talking about the melting of the ice cap in the polar regions and the rising level of sea in the oceans, why is it that we haven't yet developed the concept, the willingness and the ability to transform that seawater with desalination into clean, drinkable water that could make drought a thing of the past throughout the world, and particularly in those parts of the Middle East and Africa which are suffering terribly as a result of no water. We don't want to try and create dams. What we need to do is to utilise the water that we've got and to turn it into clean drinking water. It can be done. My God, it was done in the Second World War by members of the RAF who were ditched in the sea with tablets popped into a glass or a tumbler of seawater, which turned it into drinkable water. And here we are, what, 80 years on nearly, and we still have not decided that we can turn the seawater into drinkable water, irrigation water, and turn the deserts into green fields. If we do that, of course, we begin to start and practice something that resembles socialism, don't we? We begin to develop systems whereby these things are no longer creating want, no longer creating poverty and starvation, but capable of producing all the food that it's required to feed an increasing population of over 6 billion people on this planet. I think also our party needs to tackle the question of so-called immigration. And if it doesn't, then it's ducking the question. We are not against immigration. We are not against asylum for those people who seek asylum from any oppressive regime. And if someone said to me, would you take asylum seekers from an oppressive regime? My answer would be, I have every confidence that we would take in any American who suffers at the present time under George W. Bush's economic policies. Of course that's a quip, but when you think about it, our problem at the present time is not that we're having a massive inflow of immigrants. It's that we've got economic migration under the European Union. If you look at the figures, they're very revealing. If you take into account the total number of people coming in to Britain, last year it was 500,000 in round figures. The total going out of Britain last year in round figures was 400,000. Now that seems to work out that we're getting 100,000 people more into Britain than are going out. But it's a false picture. Completely false. First of all, we have amongst that number of 500,000 coming in, 135,000 students who are coming in for a limited period and then going home. Ah, but you would say, but what about our students? Well, the answer is simple. There are only 17,000 students going out from Britain. So we have 135,000 students coming in and 17,000 students going out. The only reason I mention that is that it brings into balance immediately the number of people coming in and the people going out. So that there isn't a net income of even economic migrants. But if you then start to take away those people who are coming in as cheap labour for this system, from Poland, from Hungary, Czechoslovakia, all of these countries that are now members of the European Union, you strip away another 100, 150, 175,000. So that the number of people leaving Britain is in fact larger than the people who are coming in if you withdraw from the number those who are coming in as a result of the freedom granted under the European Union. And it's distorting our economic society, our economic policy within society. You cannot have a system where people just flowing freely like goods and services and immediately are able to take advantage, and as they should if they come in, of all the facilities that are available without having a manufacturing base that's capable of sustaining it. Now, if people cannot understand that on the one hand, if we take out of this country all our car manufacturing and send it abroad, we even send abroad, or allow to go abroad, the manufacture of vacuum cleaners, because it's cheaper for them to produce. We allow our light and heavy engineering industries to be exported abroad. We allow our coal industry to be destroyed so that coal can be brought in at a cost to the taxpayers of billions. We do the same with steel. We do the same with a whole range of other things within our system. In fact, the only thing we do allow to come in, where we're welcoming it, is finance, or so-called invisibles, or the insurance world, or money speculators, who, if they withdrew their money tomorrow, would mean that the economic system in Britain would fall down like a proverbial pack of cards, because there's nothing to sustain it.